What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Jerome Powell just dropped the FOMC meeting and, maybe could be shaking up the markets. The markets, feeling one type of way about it. We're diving into that in this video today. I hope everyone, as always, is having a fantastic day. And let me hit you off early, guys, because it is Wednesday, my dude. So I'm going to kick it off right away with the toads.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
All right, so guys, I do want some feedback on this. One, I want to make sure that everything sounds good, right? I got a new setup situated at this point in time, trying out OBS, right? And I had to go through and long story short, I had a whole slew of things that happened. I upgraded my Mac into a newer version of the operating system. Turned out that it caused my computer to actually be a lot slower. So I actually had to downgrade my computer operating system, had to do a full reset and full reset, basically back to factory settings at this point in time. So I had to basically make an entire new setup right now. So let me know how the sound is. Let me know everything is all good. I did a couple of test streams earlier on this at this point in time to really make sure everything was all good. But yeah, guys, we got a lot going on. Just within the last week alone, there's always so much that happens within a week's time, especially in the world of crypto. It just seems like things are moving just so fast at this point, right? They talk about technology advancing every 18 months at that speed. And it seems like crypto is going with that exact same mindset in terms of how we age as well, right? One day in crypto is like 18 months in real life. So we got a lot happening at this point in time. There's been a lot going on, whether it just be prices just going sideways or down. Prices not necessarily doing anything crazy. A whole lot of people are now talking about the M2 money supply. I can bring it up on the charts as well if you want, just to take a look and see how it all sounds and all is as well. But as always, guys, I do hope everyone is staying healthy. Obviously, we want to be rich as hell. You know what I mean? At this point in time, we really want to make sure that everything is all good, right? We all want to make sure that we can live our best lives, and right, crypto is not necessarily allowing us to do that at this point in time. It seems like alts are just, kind of doing crappy things at this point. Ethereum finally broke $2,000 today, which was like, wow. There was a little bit of a pump. I really thought it would be a pump into the FOMC meeting, followed by another sell-off as well, because of the not rate drop that we already knew Jerome Powell wasn't going to do in the first place. But whether or not it just be something he said, and so we're diving into that as well. And so I got Prospector saying sounds clean AF, good voice quality. Appreciate that as always, guys. Again, I'm just trying to switch up some stuff. I'm going to, be adding some alerts in here and be adding some like text to speech stuff as well. But I had to get this stream out, especially being that it is Wednesday after all, right? We have to go through and actually put this together. So let's just talk a little bit about, what the Fed actually said in their meeting that Jerome Powell just got done doing, right? So he basically gave the markets what we were expecting at this point in time, right? We knew that there weren't going to be any rate drops at this point for this particular meeting. We already saw that coming. There was like a 97 or 98% chance that there was not going to be a rate drop. Lo and behold, there was no rate drop. Now, he did stick to his guns. He is sticking to a 2 rate drop by the end of the year of 2025. He is saying that. The market's actually expecting 3 at this point. So, he's still saying everything's fine, everything's good at this point. Right? We actually have, whether or not it be like a fading rally, because, everyone's expecting all of this stuff, especially with April 2nd coming around the corner, right? We have the tariffs possibly that are going to actually get implemented at this point in time. against Canada and Mexico. And will they actually go into effect? Will they be postponed? Will they be delayed? We'll have to see, right? We have all these countries talking about doing retaliatory tariffs against each other at this point. And, I think at the end of the day, we're all looking for just a free deal. It does look like there are a lot of people, looking at the CPI and PPI data as well. There are some indicators that are pointing to a good consumer spending growth, right? It just means like you don't really hear anybody. Obviously, you hear people talking about what they're having to pay at the grocery store. Obviously, we see that to be the case, but gas prices have been relatively good, if not down. You're looking at the overall amount for people still going out, taking on credit, buying new cars, buying new things. Even the housing inventory as well is still being good as well. Guys, there's so much uncertainty in the market right now, though. Just everywhere in every piece around the corner that you look at, there is literally uncertainty every single time around the corner, which is pretty damn crazy. You know what I mean? Like, whether it be Bitcoin is going to break 100,000, is it the end of the bull market already? Was this the worst bull market ever? Are we already into a bear market? Are we going to war? Is Russia and Ukraine going to stop the fighting? Are tariffs going to be implemented? Will we see any rate drops in 2025? Is inflation out of the way? Like, you literally see, those are just me naming off things that are coming right now off the top of my dome right now, right? And then that's just what I'm thinking about in my own life, right? But there's literally so much uncertainty that's happening everywhere, in every aspect, everywhere, whether it be the crypto market, whether it be the housing market, whether it be the stock and bond market, whether it be whatever market it is right now, people just don't really know for sure. And guys, uncertainty is damn near at all-time highs, right? That can be good, obviously, for people who want to take advantage of those sort of moves. That's typically good for trades. Like if you're a trader, volatility is actually one of the best things you can get as well. Hopefully it's toward the upside, but at the same time, volatility in general is typically very beneficial for traders. That's something where you can actually go about getting into a position, especially in crypto, getting a 5, 10, even 20% move on some cryptos, selling that position, waiting until the dip comes the very next day, if not the exact same day, buying back in at that point in time, going back and doing that rinse and repeat strategy over and over and over. Volatility is, of course, what allows the market to move. Now, we've actually seen a lot less, I'd say a lot less data at this point in time in terms of, kind of what is happening overall. Just because, not necessarily data, I don't want to say data. We've seen a lot less volume being traded in the crypto world as well, and just in general. So crypto, let me just kind of pull up a different stat real fast. So it looks like overall volume in 24 hours, spot volume is roughly about $60 billion. And again, just a month ago when things were a lot crazier as well, even going into potentially even like January and stuff like that, we were actually looking at a pretty much 100 billion, if not 250 billion, 24-hour spot volume happening. Right. And so like back in December, when the market was kind of, on edge, December 15th was really when the market kind of went into a massive uncertainty panic phase, where Jerome Powell basically came out and said, hey guys, we're only going to do 2 rate cuts. And that was when the market's like, bah! Well, we're basically 3 months into 2025 already at this point in time, right? There are definitely some short-term inflation expectations to be happening. Markets are pricing in higher inflation, mostly related to tariffs, guys. But at the same time, we haven't really seen the tariffs be implemented. So you don't know what the actual effect is going to be on the market. All we get is the fear of tariffs used to negotiate a deal. That basically is what President Trump has been doing, and then delaying the tariffs, which further causes inflation because there is a delayed tariff that may happen at some point in time, sometime in the future. So now we're basically getting to the point where now we're having to wait till what, April 2nd, right? At this point in time. Hecklin says audio sounds good. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. I want to make sure that you know, the quality is good. Make sure that the sound comes in good. It doesn't look like anything is dropping. Excellent connection. Love seeing all of that the entire time. You know, people are definitely buying ahead of tariffs. And guys, if you have the ability to scoop up on this capital and scoop up on this dip and take advantage of these prices, no matter what asset that you're getting into, now is definitely the time to be able to do so. This is a massive beneficial time because on average, just holding something for a very long period of time that has long market value fit does tend to actually pay itself in multiple folds over, right? And so, especially like if we're talking about the RH ecosystem, that, man, like we can talk about that a little bit later in the stream because the SEC came out and once again just kind of like poked some noses and ruffled some feathers. We'll get into that in just a little bit later into the stream. Just remind me if I don't happen to mention it or whatever the case may be, but I really just want to kind of go through some items over here. We'll definitely know what's going to be happening in the next couple of months. Because if we actually take a look, let me just pull up like FOMC Fed rate cuts. Let me just pull up that real quick. And this would actually allow us to get a little bit better idea, right? This is one of those as we can actually go into the item, Federal Reserve, leave business rates unchanged, data sets. Oh man, I told you I reset everything, so I forgot all of the websites. Fed rate cut patience. Let me just see if I can go back and find that particular page. Nope. There we go. Fred St. Louis economic summary of projections. Don't really need that one. One sec, guys. My apology. Fred rate. Interest checking accounts, interest rate spreads, swaps, long-term securities. Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Anyways, I'll pull that up in just a little bit. We'll keep going on that one. Rate cut information. Yeah, I'll pull up that in just a second. I don't know why. I'm just having the brain fart on that one to actually find out where it is. I know it's under the, you know, Federal St. Louis and all that good stuff to find out where it's all going to be. Because we got Fed funds effective rate and all that, which, by the way, has been going down, right? You can actually see it's been going down. A lot of these items are pointing to inflation actually being now under control. Trueflation is showing us, you know, in the below 2% number as well, which the Fed has a projection to get to the 2% number. So Trueflation showing us below that 2%. So good stuff is happening overall whenever it actually ends up coming down to some of this. All following the M2 money supply, global liquidity, end of April, banana zone, April 2025. Yeah, dude, this is what a lot of people are kind of bringing up as well. As we actually pull up like charts in particular, let's just do that since we're on the, you know, Fed rate talk right now. So one thing I was looking at was the, of course, you know, Bitcoin, right? So as we started pulling up like Bitcoin on this one over here, give me one sec. Let me, because I actually tried having the chat going as well. So maybe I should do it like this. And we'll cut this down and throw the chat down there. All right. If the chat gets in the way or whatever the case may be, obviously let me know. We can get some stuff adjusted. I just wanted to kind of have the chat at the same time as it all is. And again, I can still pull up the actual chat over here too. So trying to adjust some stuff, guys. Like I said, I'm just, you know, playing with everything right now. Right here, we actually have Bitcoin. It's doing pretty darn good, right? We actually have Bitcoin on a pretty good uptrend. Now, it is still in a bearish channel right here. This is the exact same thing we saw with Ethereum. The Ethereum was in this bearish channel for quite some time. It actually fell below the bearish channel, and we actually went pretty damn low, right? Actually got down to 1,700 at one point in time, which is crazy freaking cheap Ethereum at this point, especially being that even if we just go back up to the previous all-time high, not even up to the 4,000, but $4,800 over here, you're getting a pretty damn good deal at that point in time, right? Almost a 3x the capital right there. So we actually see Bitcoin in this same, bearish parallel channel. Obviously, we want to play around it. We definitely want to get above it, but really we have levels to get to. First level that we really have to pass is this 85,000. It seems to be a level of resistance. We've been here a few times already, and as you can see, each time we've come, it's hit a level of support real quick. It actually used it as support. It came back down, used it as support. It broke through the support, and now it actually hit resistance right here. This is a third time testing the resistance at this point in recent times, right? This is a daily right here. So I got 1, 2, and this is a third time testing. It does seem to be pushing toward the upside. This is actually a very good sign that we could be, in fact, going toward that next move higher, which is back into the 90K range once again, and then we start getting back into this 93K range. This is the next levels to be paying attention to for Bitcoin in particular, but being that it is in a bearish parallel channel, this is a median that will tend to attract price during that time while it's in the channel. So I could actually see it bouncing up here, potentially coming back down and actually continuing on to the upside. We'll have to see how it all ends up playing out. That would still be making higher lows at that point in time if we went that route. So we just have to see how it's all going to end up playing. But this is kind of that first step toward the right direction. Also, we're actually seeing the RSI slightly turn a little bit bullish, guys. We actually saw the RSI dip to 24 the other day. That was a very oversold territory, and that was when Bitcoin actually got down to 78,000. Now, we did get to see a brief rally and recovery after it. A lot of market manipulation happening because it was actually just a massive liquidation event, where normally this would be a 1 candle move, but this is a 2 candle because of the day it closed and the time it actually happened. So you saw the price pump up like crazy, followed by a massive wick pulling everything back down again. It actually came back all the way down to 76,000 at that point in time. So things I'm paying attention to whenever I'm seeing this, if we actually pull up the M2 global liquidity at this point in time on the actual chart, a lot of people are pulling this up as well. And this is actually using a couple of different things. This is actually breaking it down. I believe this is a 76-day delay is what I have it for right here. Yeah, 76-day delay right here. And it's going to be anywhere between 70 days all the way to roughly about 110 days. Somewhere in that ballpark is where the delay is. So what that means is basically, as you can see, the global M2 money supply is the solid line right here, the solid yellow line. As it goes up in price, this is a 76-day delay. So if we actually took off the delay, say we just did 0, for example, and just put that on there, you can actually see this is when it actually went back up for the M2 money supply, was all the way back over here, back on the middle or end of September. And we actually once again have that 76-day delay happening, especially in the crypto world, right? And so if we have this just where it's once again broken down by 76 days, you can see it starts lining up very closely with the actual trend of the charts, right? And so as you actually see, this actually comes all the way down, which again, roughly about February over here, and you actually got to see the price of Bitcoin kind of remain relatively solid here in the 90K, 100K range. That was a pretty good move where Bitcoin definitely tried staying in that upper echelon. It wasn't able to actually hold it right there. And this is when you actually see in that dip come right here. This is actually the dip coming. This is showing a lot of people to be kind of getting the mindset that the bottom should be in by the end of March if we go based on the M2 global supply. So this is actually showing that we could be bottoming roughly about the 27th, 29th of March, somewhere in this ballpark. And the benefit here, folks, is once we actually bottom and we start moving up again, the crazy thing is you can actually see the M2 money supply is still moving up right now. So that would mean that if it actually were to be the bottom and we started rallying up, this would actually be kind of contradictory to what has happened in the past, where oftentimes you get sell in May and go away. This is part of the deal that happens in most assets. This could actually lead us to not necessarily sell in May and go away, but actually continue a rally into June, if not going into a continuing cycle, pushing that higher narrative, definitely pushing us back into that $108,000 range for Bitcoin, potentially testing all-time highs. And this is what a lot of people are getting excited about right here is this M2 money supply. Now, one thing I'm noticing is we're starting to see a slightly bullish move right here. This is still bearish, guys. This is the Impulse MACD. So as you can see on the actual chart, this is a histogram, again, bearish histogram right here with the actual moving averages overall right here. This is actually showing that it's trying to flip into a bullish direction, but it's still not fully there. Now, oftentimes what you can see is when we do get this flip that happens, we can in fact see a massive rally that actually ensues and follows. Because if you look at this point in time, it's around September, and it lasted all the way up until roughly about the early beginning of December. Now, if we were to break that down on the actual chart for Bitcoin, hiding the M2 money supply real fast and just showing this once again, September was right here, right when all of this was happening, and you got that first initial cross for the Impulse MACD. That actually took us from the 50K range all the way into the next level of the $108,000 Bitcoin, again, by December 14th. By December 4th is around the time where it actually started getting bearish. So it was around this $100,000 Bitcoin by the time this actually started going a little bit bearish. Again, looking at the Impulse MACD for this one, it tried remaining bullish, couldn't quite get there, and actually flipped to be bearish at that point in time. And we actually saw that on the price chart as well. It's when it dropped from, 108,000, 109,000 all the way down to 85,000. And a lot of people are like, that's to be expected, guys. It's crypto, it's Bitcoin. There's a lot of things that are happening this cycle that hasn't happened in previous cycles, right? And what I mean by that is we actually have a lot of things showing up, such as we hit our first ever all-time high before Bitcoin halving. That has never happened in the Bitcoin cycle. Not only that, before that, we actually fell below our previous support line, which in all times in Bitcoin's history, the previous all-time high never got broken through by the bear market of the next following year. So what that means is what I'm saying is if you get into 2013, we hit the high, we'll say, we'll just pull it up on the chart. Why don't we, right? Let's just go over here, go into the monthly. We'll just actually show it on the chart just to keep it a little bit easier and simple. Maybe this is, I'm a visual person myself. So as we actually look at the overall chart right here, this is the high of Bitcoin back in 2013. It was $14,000. Well, it hit the bear market, of course, but then the next bull market, it actually ended up coming down in the next bear market, but it was still above this previous all-time high of $1,400. So now when we hit the all-time high of 17, we actually ended up getting a bear market, hitting a bull market. But this time, again, the all-time high was roughly around $19,000. We actually broke below that as well. Now, again, if you just go back to the previous time in Bitcoin's history, right, the 2009 era, 2010 era, we were back over here. You hit the bear market, you hit a bull market. Again, it did not hit the previous low or the previous all-time high. We actually stayed up. Well, now at this point in time in 2021, following into 2022, we actually broke below that first cycle. So we've done several things that we hadn't done previously, guys, right? This time is different. Things are not playing out the same, especially being that we do have ETFs now involved. The government or the people, the entities of the government are now in crypto, right? And so it's just one of those situations that as we look at these particular concepts and items, we actually check it all out. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure. Okay, cool. I was just making sure, didn't get a message from the wife or anything like that. So this is one of those things that as you actually ended up kind of coming on down into this whole scenario, let me just put it on do not disturb real fast, just so that way I don't forget and get a whole lot of messages that pop up. This is one of those deals that things have played differently, guys. We have absolutely, been tricked. The 4-year cycle isn't the 4-year cycle anymore. It's just not. That's a hard reality to accept. Very tough to see. But one thing that I did notice is looking at the actual charts on PulseX and Pulse, just using a website called coinrank.com, we actually were positive in January and February, where most of the market was actually red. Okay. Most of the market was red during this time. we actually hit green in the month of January and green in the month of February. And that's just on PulseChain or PulseX right there. If I actually pull up just PulseChain for the actual token as well, you can see, here we go, got it. The actual history over here. Again, PulseX has been outperforming Pulse. This is just a fact because look at the actual indicators right now, right? Now, because of that, it is affecting the price a lot more, guys. If I actually were to pull up Pulse right now, you can see the current price of Pulse is 4030. We actually hit an all-time low. That sucks unless you were able to buy the dip. But we actually hit 402396. Now, I got a couple of different conspiracies. I've shared this with my Patreon group and my Telegram. I was actually having some fun and just saying, what if, guys, conspiracy theory over here, we just go down so low so we can easily get that 10,000x again. Now, obviously, I say easily, but if I think the price is going to end up reaching either be 3 cents or 10 cents for PulseChain, how low would the price need to go in order to actually get there, right? And the price would actually need to get to 5 zeros and a 3, which is like, by the way, I can't even fathom that, but it would have to hit 5 zeros and a 3 to actually get a 10,000x if we were just to get to 3 cents. Or if we were to get to 10 cents in this example, it would have to hit 4 zeros and a 1. So it would still have to dip so much more if that were to be the case. Now, obviously, I don't want that to be true. That was just a random thought that popped into my head, and I wanted to share it with everyone as well. But one thing that I did share with everyone in the Patreon group as well is we actually had this formation forming pretty clear as day. It was a head and shoulders on this chart. Now, head and shoulders, when it happens, often is a bearish move as well. So when you actually look at this bearish move, what you can tend to do is go from the neckline to the top and then just measure that down for when it breaks below the neckline. Now, this just actually showed me we could potentially end up going down to 4020. Now, obviously, hopefully, we don't get that low. Guys, I'm out of dry powder, but hey, if you got that dry powder available to go about buying that dip, then you buy that dip, boo, and you take advantage of those prices. Because if we do get to any of the prices mentioned previously, 3 cents or 10 cents, you're going to get massive gains ahead by buying around these prices. Now, what I did say is you set different levels going down. Guys, you always go and set different levels to where you are going to actually enter into the actual item. So if I were to pull up, just say the fib retracement on this one, not sure why I just did that chart right there. Didn't mean to do that one. If I were to actually go about pulling up a fib retracement on this one and just said, you know, where could we potentially end up going down to? And then let me just take this off log real fast. Give me 1 second. I actually wanted to log on because I'm in log. So I said, basically, here are the levels I would think we could get to. Well, we got to one of them right there, right? This is hitting that 1618. And this is, again, just from the most recent local low right here to the most recent local pump. That's all I did. And I said, where would we actually end up getting to? These are levels of support resistance. We broke through those pretty damn fast. And once we did break through those, this just kind of shows me that we came back and we retested it a couple of different times. We didn't fully break through, and that is a-okay. And once we didn't break through, that just shows that we're probably going to end up going lower. And if we end up going lower, where could we end up getting to? Well, we actually hit the 1618 already based on this price by hitting the actual area 4025. Now, again, this is just saying that if you were to go about allocating some capital, I'm always a fan of doing things in 3. I don't like just trying to go all in right here, because you never know what the price may end up doing. It could be a falling knife, especially when you break through an all-time low scenario, which was previously 4030, somewhere in there, 40308. We broke through that previous all-time low already, showing up right here. So cool. We made another previous all-time, or we made a new all-time low, which actually showed up at 40282. Once we broke below that, guys, that's typically a falling knife pattern. It doesn't tend to bode well when it comes to the actual pricing of the asset. It means prices tend to go even lower. regardless of what's ever happening, there's the whole P-Dye scenario happening, talking about Maria's selling and this is happening and they got too much capital and P-Dye is ruining the ecosystem and blah, blah, blah. Sure, whatever the narrative is, guys, again, you show me the chart and I'm sure we can give you the news, right? You've heard that before, but you can look at the chart and you can pretty much find the news of whatever's happening during that time. Sure. This just shows where we're going to potentially go. Now, if we do in fact decide to go lower, it should in fact be around these levels. 4020, 4016. Now that is pretty damn low. Even myself would be shocked if that were to be the case. Now, I'm going about changing out my plan as to kind of what I'm doing. I've shared this with my Patreon members as well. If you actually want to get an idea of what I got going on or what you maybe end up doing, whether it be your own profit taking strategy or whatever the case may be, you're welcome to join the 5P community. The link is down below. Check it out. See if it's something that you're interested in. Much love to everyone who's already a member and much love to anyone who actually joins. We got a lot of stuff there as well that we share every single week on this one. Keeping this over here, Ben Barbecue Sauce, get low like the Yin Yang twins. Get low, get low, get low, get low. Oh man, but that's exactly what's going on, guys. This is what we're looking at whenever I'm seeing the actual chart. We could, in fact, be going lower. We aren't forming anything strong at this point in time. I don't see higher lows getting locked in place. I don't see higher highs getting locked in place. And anytime that you see a lower low and a lower high, it tends to just mean that we're going to continue that direction, especially being that we just got the SEC again coming back out and saying, hey, we're going to file an extension to see if we're going to do an appeal. What kind of trash is that? That is absolute trash, right? That's some boo-boo trash right there. Now, keeping that in mind, with all of that said, you know, I pulled up like a post from Nuclear Herbs on this one. And, you know, he, of course, is the resident crypto lawyer at this point in time for our PulseChain ecosystem right now. Right. And so as I actually ended up pulling it up right here, it basically just said, hey, guys, y'all are worried about nothing. Right. Like, again, this is I'll just share the brief post as well with everyone over here. So this is kind of keeping it. Just sharing what he said. He basically said, hey, if you're worried about every court delay, or he said, if I worried about every court delay I'd ever seen, I'd be in a straitjacket, worry about something when it actually happens. Obviously, all they've gotten this happen so far at this point in time is they got their extension allowed, granted. The judge said, hey, you got your extension. Are you going to appeal or not? Now we need to wait until April 21st to see what's going to happen. I do personally believe if they went through the hassle of putting in an extension request, they're probably going to appeal. Now that sucks, but the market's going to react a certain way. We could in fact see the prices that I just pulled up on screen moments ago. So what I would do for anyone who's available and has the ability is get your dry powder ready to go and deploy. And I'm not playing the trading game. I'm not trying to sell my entire position in anticipation that we're going to see that dip. Obviously, I do believe it is likely to happen, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do that for myself, because then I would worry all the time. Did I buy? Did I do it? Did I do it correctly? I got my bag, and if I can stack some more, I'll stack some more. Simple as that. But what he says on here, here's the actual possibilities, none of which I'm concerned about. The SEC doesn't amend, case gets dismissed. Whoops. What the heck? Where'd all my all right, cool, highlights go? Yeah, that was weird. The SEC doesn't amend, case gets dismissed. Pretty much as simple as it is. There's no difference in what we're already doing right now. The SEC does amend. It doesn't fix the many things the court pointed out. They had 30 to 50 pages of the court document. I think it's 31 pages, basically showing that there is no jurisdiction against Richard Hart and the PulseChain community and the PulseChain ecosystem in general to be even heard in the first place. That's why the motion to dismiss was granted in the first place. Now, let's just say they do amend and somehow it manages to salvage at least one claim, like their registration claim. There's still no saving their fraud claim, in my opinion. No matter what happens, they need to have new facts regarding it. Best case scenario, case gets dismissed April 21st. We'll worry about any other scenarios when and if we need to. A quick reminder, the absolute worst case scenario out of all this is RH pays a fine. That hasn't changed since July 31st of 2023. That is like, guys, that's the worst that can happen at this point in time, is like, there's no legality of anything. He's not going to be going to jail because of some SEC, notice that happens. Like, the people are freaking out, but it's happening, right? Oh, I guess best scenario is that Doge eliminates the entire crypto regulation department. Now, I did see a post from Richard Hart today, and the post actually basically had something to do with, and let me just pull it up on here. Richard Hart win. I assume, yep, I'm sure it's going to be right there for me. Yeah, apparently he says it right here. Apparently the SEC is dropping its appeal against Ripple. Maybe we see something like this happen. I don't know. Just throwing it out there, right? Maybe this is a possibility. Maybe not. What are your thoughts down below? But this is kind of what I'm seeing overall on the actual items right now. This is basically showing everything that we actually have happening, whether it be the SEC dismisses, whether it be the SEC doesn't dismiss, whether it be they do drop, whether it be they don't drop. I heard someone say the other day they wanted to file an extension so that way they could be the one to drop the case. That way it wasn't the decision of the judge that got it dismissed. It was their decision to get it dropped. Whichever way it ends up going, guys, I'm here for the long haul at this point in time. I've already stuck it out this long, guys. Like, there's no way I'm going to be shaking myself out at this point in time. Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I imagine all of y'all are frustrated. The frustration is real. It cannot be hidden at that point in time. The prices have not performed. Guys, like I said, this is all the way going back to 2021 when Hex was Hex. I've said this multiple times, but in my heart of hearts, I almost had wished PulseChain had never been launched in the first place. Main reason being, I found Hex. I love Hex. It helped me get my mindset right for so many other things that I could potentially lead as a factor as to why I stopped drinking, why I stopped smoking, why I have a long-term vision of the actual future instead of what's going to happen in the next minute, hour, or day. These are what allowed me to do it. Because PulseChain launched, yes, I understand there was a reason for it. Gas prices were exorbitant. The S-load was stupid. You were paying an arm and a leg to just do a swap. If you wanted to pay $100 to get Hex, you would have to pay $50 just in the ETH fee alone. You would actually only end up getting $50 worth of Hex. Dude, I get it. I understand. I'm right there with you. But it distracted from the community. It actually broke the community. Let's just be real. It broke the community, man. I mean, we got broke into many different subsectors, many different categories, many different cliques. And that wasn't what it was before, man. Like, the Hex ecosystem was like a band of brothers that got together and was like, we're fighting the truth and we're fighting everyone who's against us. And now it just seems like we're all at each other's throat because, this project over this project over this project over this project. It is what it is. Hey guys, I'm here for the long haul either way. I'm an RH maxi at that point in time. If you want to call me that, so be it at that point. There's money to be made in other places. And if you make that money in other places, then good on you for taking that risk. I'm just not willing to take that risk. Now, obviously that sucks because, guys, the money at this point in time hasn't had the return yet. Like, I was in when Hex was, around this whole penny level to even 2-3 cent level, and I got to ride it up to the 56 cent level. That was an incredible time to be around. People haven't felt that in the ecosystem in 4 years. That's a long fucking time. Let's just keep it 100% real. That is a long fucking time, guys. So because of that, yes, I'm right there with you. It does stink that all of this is happening. I assume that we're still going into the 2026 extended bull run. I shared this with many people as well. And you know what?
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. So we actually got PulseX over here. This is another interesting chart that has been holding up surprisingly well. Now, yes, it still has that head and shoulder pattern, but it didn't really form that same necessarily head and shoulder pattern when you actually break it down overall. Again, if I were to do this over here, just go from like, you know, we'll say, where would you put the neckline? I would put the neckline right about cha. Go to the left shoulder, bring it down into this area. Going up to the head over here, breaking it down. And then bring it up to the shoulder over here. Now, again, you can kind of see if I was to just draw this out, normally you would expect price to go lower. Again, where could price end up going if we go this route? Well, let me just draw a simple line that goes basically from the neckline right here all the way up to roughly about the top of the head. And this just kind of gives me an idea as to what we may expect if the price were to, in fact, go lower once it actually breaks through that neckline. Cool. Now that we actually have all this kind of drawn on, that would once again break below previous all-time lows, right? You actually have the all-time low over here around 4015, which again, by the way, if it just reaches that whole 15-cent range, which would be a crazy number, I get it, that would be a 10,000x. Just breaking it down. Had to say it out loud as well. Whenever you actually pull this up as well, this just kind of gives me an idea saying, hey, if we do in fact end up breaking down below these ranges over here, we may in fact go down into the 4011 range. Obviously, I wouldn't want that to be the case. Obviously, I want this to be going the other way. I'm right there with you. I want this to be going up to the moon, not necessarily going down into the dirt, right? I don't want this to be 6 feet under, wondering like, damn, did I just mess up? Did I choose wrong? And then for whatever reason, as soon as you decide to exit your position, that's when the motherfucker just rises and just skyrockets like crazy. So I'm just sharing this to give everyone an idea of what could potentially be possible just pulling this up on the chart. Once again, if I were to be breaking this down from the most recent local low to the local high over here, this would actually be showing the price could potentially go down to 4016. That would be kind of my first level to be looking at. Not my first level. My first level would already be kind of where these are right here. This is like one of those, get in, get a good level, your second price right here. And then if you happen to capture this price on a third buy, then congratulations. But this is first, second, and third. This is kind of how you would play those moves right there if you were going to be actually looking to make some purchases. Whether it be you just wanted to get in some right here, which I understand, I'm right there with you, get in, that way you don't miss out in case we do in fact hit a local bottom and then all of a sudden we do start rallying. Now, being that we do have that M2 money supply once again, it could in fact be that we in fact stop around this March 22nd, March 31st time zone, and then we start rallying everything up again. We have to just kind of see how it's all going to end up playing out. I just wanted to share that with everyone, especially being that ETH is showing some resilience finally. Again, it's been a long time coming, but damn, seeing ETH above $2,000 is like I had forgotten already that it was at one point in time even at $2,000. And again, that was just like a week ago, I understand, but that's how long it just feels. Like the sentiment right now, it just felt like trash lately, guys. It's just felt so bad around everything. Now we're probably going to be meeting a lot of resistance around 21.25, just FYI. Expect that to be the case. I expect a little pullback as well, but as long as we keep forming higher lows and higher highs to be formed, this is a bullish move back into this still bearish parallel channel. So this just gets us back into this little range right here. We still got plenty to go through over there as well. This is just a first step toward that right direction, especially if we compare it against ETH BTC. It's the first time we've really been able to see lately the ETH BTC be on a positive metric. Now, once again, it has a lot of highs that went lower and went lower and went lower. So we got a lot of catching up to do, a lot of ground to break before we start getting very bullish overall. Again, if you were to be breaking this down, I've pulled this up on the chart before, but if I were to be breaking this down and say, where would we expect alt season? Well, no alt season is below 0.02951. If it falls below that range right there, we are not currently in an alt season. When you can start seeing ETH at least start breaking above this range and especially get us back up into this range up here, that is a much more bullish direction. Now, does it happen quickly? Do we just shoot straight up? Obviously, we've seen moves like this happen in the past with Ethereum and Bitcoin, where if I just pull this up all the way back over here, This is the move that it did back in, January of 2021. It actually started out here, and this is kind of where I'm like, things are just delayed right now, guys. This is what I've been trying to say, but things are just delayed. This is basically where we currently are right here. This is the current price of Ethereum BTC ratio. Now you can see it actually flipped up. We broke down and broke through. We hit it as resistance or as support, and then it popped into here. Now, granted, it did take 2 times to actually break through, but once it broke through on that second move, the overall crypto market was booming, folks. That was a massive rally against everyone and everything. And you can see it actually all took roughly about, for us to actually break above there, 20 days. And if you really want to get technical over here and just say, 33 days, so be it. But this is what I can see happening currently at today's current levels, right? And this puts us into, guess what? The whole potential of April, if not May timeframe to actually see, especially once again, pulling up that M2 money supply that everyone keeps talking about and looking at. If we just use something like this overall and just see what could potentially happen, if this were to be the case, this would actually show us that we could end up getting back into this range all the way. You know what I could do? I could just do a bars pattern copy. That's what I should do. Bars from, I got bars. All right, cool. There's a little bars pattern copy real fast, just to kind of give everyone an example of what might end up happening if it were to do this. And this just kind of shows, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that it has happened before, and it has happened within the span of like 20 days before, 30 days before. It can happen relatively quickly. But right now, Ethereum's got to get shit together, guys. Let's just keep that 100%, right? Ethereum has definitely got to keep it real at this point. So, checking everything out overall, seeing how all the charts look. The others BTC ratio still isn't performing anything crazy to me at this point, right? If I were to be looking at the others BTC ratio, it's not like screaming at me that we're ready for this to be taken off, but I have seen this happen in the past as well, especially being the whole 2021 time zone where the others BTC ratio is all the way down here, and then it got skyrocketed all the way up. And this is that same May timeframe, guys. This is when you actually get to see roughly about this doesn't give me the overall volume and everything as well. Let me actually pull that up in a different way. Date and price. Here we go. All the way down here. Yeah, so it's roughly about a 5.7x on the overall ecosystem, which is crazy. And that's the others. That's everything excluding the top 10. It can happen super freaking fast. Now, granted, will it? Who knows? Things seem to be taking longer than they usually do, right? But checking out the Impulse MACD, we're moving toward a bullish direction on the Impulse MACD for the others BTC ratio. That is very bullish, not fully bullish, but it is toward a bullish direction. We're still under an overbought territory over here. So overbought's way up here. You can see we were back there in December. And when we got in December, the prices fell. The prices fell pretty damn fast as soon as it actually ended up touching. This is, end of September. This is early December. Those are when basically the tops were in at that point in time. And then the market did some correction. And then you actually got to see that rally that happened in November. That November to December rally was pretty damn cool. And you can see something like that happening once again as well. So, keeping all of this in mind, just checking it all out, sharing everything as it stands. The Bitcoin dominance ratio, damn, dude. We need this sucker to go so much lower than what it is right now. As long as this thing remains above, I'll even just say 55% right here. That's not necessarily that bullish move, but we need that sucker to get all the way, not only below this 60% range, but definitely in this 55% range. That's when we start getting really damn bullish, guys. Okay, so that's just checking out some charts. Let me say hello to some beautiful people. Say what's up to my dudes and see what y'all got going on in chat. We got Check saying happy Wednesday. Absolutely. Buy PulseX and get Peg with her in 10 months. There you go. Good to see you, my friend. Absolutely A1. Appreciate that. We got Prospector in the house. GM. Grass is turning green in New England. Temps and the 50s, enjoying the outdoors. Yeah, dude, I got I got grass in the backyard again. We got, 6 dogs, so it's tough to keep the grass green, but running the sprinklers twice a day, all that good stuff, putting down some seeds, getting back into that item over here. It's good seeing the grass is green as well. And you can see it took a little bit of time, and now things are looking pretty damn good as well. Wow. Let me just share that. That's what by the way, that's what just reminded me of whenever I read that message. That's the sound that I heard inside my head whenever I just read that message. I don't know if that worked for y'all too, but that's what I heard. All following M2 money supply, global liquidity, end of April banana zone. Yeah, dude, April 25th. That would also kind of coincide if we end up getting if they don't appeal their decision, which, by the way, I don't see that being likely. Okay, I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I would love for that to be the case. I would love for the SEC to just F right off and just stop messing with the ecosystem of crypto. They've done so much damage. They have barely helped anyone. If they have even helped anyone, they only go after people after it's already in the first place. And then at that point in time, everyone's already lost all their money. And so for the people who are in the ecosystems still, they are absolutely just punishing them. And this is what unfortunately, XRP people had to deal with for 7 freaking years. Yes, they've been doing damn good at this point in time. They've started breaking through and actually managed to hit an all-time high. Surprise, surprise. And now we got the potential of the SEC actually removing or dismissing their appeal. So that could coincide with April 21st, which is basically their day if they are going to appeal or not. But they have an extension that grants them all the way up until April 31st or April 21st. So we'll see what happens. I was kind of hoping that we might see Richard Hart stream in 2 days. What are y'all thoughts on that? Did you think he will stream? Do you think he will stream if the SEC case gets dropped and just gone and be done with all that BS at this point in time? That would be pretty damn cool for the ecosystem, but not necessary, obviously. But it would be pretty damn cool. So yeah, it is Wednesday, my dudes. What's up, Team RH? How you doing, my boy? Yes, sir. That chart's the real alpha right there. Appreciate that, my boy. Extended cycle. The whole world is buying crypto this cycle. A literal shit ton of money is coming. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I've been on this mindset that we could potentially get into the 2026 time zone for quite some time, right? And I've actually pulled this up previously with another Bitcoin chart, and I don't think I have it here anymore. Let me just see if I happen to have saved it. Here we go. That's the halving Bitcoin right here. Okay, cool. I actually did have it saved, so I'll just share it with everyone as well. This is actually basically what, whoops, didn't mean to do that. So this is actually basically what leads me to believe we're going to have a longer cycle, not just all the other noise, not just everything that has happened so far at this point, but just in general, right? Like how this all plays out for me. So basically, if I look at this overall chart, this is Bitcoin when it first launched, 2009. It had essentially the first bull market run. I'm going into the 2011 timeframe, just kind of using this as a rough ballpark right here to get a days of how long it lasted. It was roughly about 35% longer at that point in time from this market over here. So basically, what I did was I said, hey, this over here from the bear market of 2011, we'll say, to the actual bull market top of 2013 was roughly about 743 days. Because that lasted 743 days, what I actually ended up doing overall was I said, if it decides to actually go through and just be a little bit longer on this one, it was 35% longer than previous. Okay, pretty easy to understand how that worked out, right? Pretty easy to understand how I got there. Well, what about the next market, right? What about the next cycle? The next cycle took 851 days. This is again from the bottom of the bear market. So 2015 was the bottom of the bear market after the bull market top in 2013. This actually lasted all the way until December of 2017, which was 851 days. That is 14% longer than the previous cycle as well. Okay, so this is something that I've been sharing for quite some time. Now, the next cycle from the bottom of the bear market in 2018 to the top of the bull market in 2021 was 1,063 days. Okay, that's 24% longer. Okay, so it has been extending from the bottom of the bear market to the top of the bull market. Now, what this shows over here is basically saying if we just had an average of 24% longer, or even just an average of 19% longer, what could that actually end up being? So these are the two charts that actually end up being shown. The first one gets us all the way out to June of 2026. That is a 24% increase from the previous bottom market in 2022 to the top of the market and potentially June of 2026. Now, let's just say it's not 24% extended and it's only 19% extended. Well, that still brings us to April of 2026. So all of these end up going into 2026. Now, I use this from a couple of different metrics and just said, guys, this is a pretty easy deal to see. Again, this is going from the halving cycle as well. From the halving cycle, it was 511 days from the halving to the top. It was 553 days from the halving to the top. It was 600 days from the halving to the top. Okay? Well, I'm saying this is what it could potentially end up being, is 600 days. And if we end up getting that to be the case, then we're right back into the end of December of 2025, okay? So there are a couple of different things that I'm looking at, but either way, this shows that we still got a lot of market left to go. And I understand we're 3 months in. It has been a brutal 3 months. It has not been going the way anyone expected it to go at all, right? Bitcoin down. Look at the monthly chart on Bitcoin. When have you ever seen on a bull market year the overall Bitcoin chart? Whoops. Give me a little reset over here. When have you ever seen the overall Bitcoin chart have a massive red month in February? It has never happened before. Okay? Never happened. Right? We're just now potentially seeing a green month. We were red for quite a while over here too, especially when we got down to 76,000. That was looking to be pretty damn bearish overall. But this is what I'm saying. Like, we hit these. This is also another thing that happened that had never happened before in Bitcoin's history. We hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green months in a row. Bitcoin had never hit 7 green months in a row, but we hit it. We did 7 green months in a row. Damn it, dude. Like, the signs were everywhere. This cycle is different. This cycle is different. But if it's playing that extended cycle narrative, like we see happening right here, that just shows us that we're going into this April 2026, June 2026 timeframe. Now, how it ends up playing out, we'll just have to wait and see. But this is what I'm seeing as well. This is what it's showing me whenever I'm checking it out. Okay. Is it happening? Yeah, dude, it's always. It's going down. Yeah, absolutely. Into 2026, biggest rug pull in history. So Fed can save us with regulations. Going to be exciting. Yeah, unfortunately. Yep, we got some pimp barbecue sauce laughing over here. Could be inverse correlation. Could inverse correlation be coming back? Yeah, maybe. But now, so like the downside to the ETFs getting launched is everything is now tied together. Just like normal stocks as well. Like, that's the one downside to it, to the governments getting involved or the ETFs getting approved. We used to have, I think it was like a 0.2, 0.15 correlation with the S&P 500 versus Bitcoin. That sucker's up to like 0.8 now or 0.9. It is a stupid high correlation, meaning it used to be roughly about 15 to 20% correlated. And now it's like 85 to 90% correlated. So basically, if the stocks in S&P go up, Bitcoin goes up. And it hasn't been that way, especially with the correlation with ETH and Bitcoin. Like, the correlation on those two charts, boy, oh boy, they've probably been boo-boo. That would be my guess. But yeah, we could be seeing some inverse correlation happening. The benefit here is we do have the dollar decreasing in value, which is actually really good. We do want the dollar to decrease. If the dollar continues to decrease, it tends to actually be a more bullish direction as well. So just keep that in mind when we actually see this happening. But this is one of the biggest red candles that we've seen in quite a while. Last time was November of 2022. And that was basically the bottom of the market. If you remember, that basically marked the bottom of the market right there, was this candle right here. Now, I'm not saying this is marking the bottom of the market, but it very well could mark the bottom of the market. And then what happened next is it continued to lose value, and it led into that whole July rally of 2023. Now, if you were to pull up the Bitcoin chart on that one from, let's just say, November of 2022 up until July of 2025, this is what it looked like during that time. This is November of 2022. It was basically the bottom of the market right here, followed into this rally into this July of 2023. That was just the beginning of the rally. Obviously, the rally continued and it ended up going into the all-time highs, hitting $109,000. This is what could potentially be happening and playing out right in here, especially being with the DXY losing value, just showing what could potentially be a strong, if not more than likely, possibility on these overall charts. So we've lost, or we've broken through all of our support levels. That's good. Now, obviously, we want to actually close the month below this support level. That would be even more bullish in that scenario. But if we can just continue pushing toward the downside, last time you saw this happen and we broke below this was, oh man, this is on monthly. This is back in 2002. What? Why is it all the way back over here? Let me go back into 2021. All right, this is back 2021, right in here. Oh, it's funny. It's actually gained value. That's interesting. The dollar actually gained some strength, and the prices still went crazy. Anyway, I don't want to get too crazy on that one right there. I don't want to get too locked in that one and just like go down a rabbit hole that I'll just end up getting stuck on myself and just try to figure out all this data right now. I'm just having fun on stream, guys. It's Wednesday. You know, we got a lot of stuff happening, especially with, you know, like I said, Jerome Powell coming out. There's a lot of uncertainty in the markets. It's remarkably high across the board from every single one. We do have some good CPI data. We do have some good PPI data. This is all lagging indicators, a lot lagging data. I think basically before Trump was even in office. So basically, like, this is one of those, we don't have a bad situation right now. We do have some good, and we have relatively, under control inflation, whether it be 2.5 inflation or 2% inflation. If you're going off true inflation numbers, we do see some growth happening right now. It's no reason to believe that we're going into a recession right now, but obviously, the tariffs are basically causing a whole lot of markets to just panic across the board. So we'll see how it all ends up, playing out as well. I never broke DCAing into the threes, and price drops every time. Congrats, man. That's awesome. You probably got a really good average entry level. And the more that you buy in on these dips, guys, I've said it before, all that matters at the end of the day is what you sell it at for the price and however many tokens you have. That's it. And so if you have the ability to get more tokens right now, congrats. If you feel like you've stacked up your bags enough to feel very comfortable if numbers hit certain numbers and metrics, congrats. If you find that you've already hit your goal and then you broke that goal and then you hit that new goal and then you broke that goal and you hit that new goal because prices have been down for so long, then congrats. You know what I mean? Like, at this point in time, that's just what it is right there, right? If SEC does find RH, does that make PulseChain Hex American crypto? Yeah, possibly, right? And could be part of the crypto reserve as well. No emotion, enjoying the ride. Yep, glad you were still streaming. Appreciate you. Look forward to Wednesday, my dude. Appreciate that, Checks. I've had enough. PulseChain and PulseX are never coming out. Yep, I've had enough. Yeah, dude, exactly. I sacrificed almost 2 years ago. Where are my tokens? Where are my tokens at? Where are my tokens at? Lol. Pimp, you've got them if you add PulseChain into your MetaMask. Lol. Y'all are funny. It will never get this low. We will go sideways, and if the case goes ahead, okay, see you down there. Better by now. Yeah, for sure. We had that for years. Win PulseChain. Dude, and like, saw someone post the other day talking about, like, weekends getting shaken out and all that good stuff. I'm like, 4 years is long enough to shake out weekends. You're now shaking out not only weekends, but believers. And not everyone has to be a person who's just trying to get in and out of the asset to be able to get it. Like, you actually have people who are losing faith, and that's something that has happened, unfortunately, and you can't deny that. It does stink that it's going down that way. Thanks for the heads up. I've been living under a rock. Lol. You can smell what I'm cooking. I'm sure. Yeah. Y'all funny, man. Ye could never be a PulseChain investor, especially ever since he came out with the song Heartless. How could he be so heartless? RH can't stream till he got that red notice. He still got that red notice on him. Yeah. Wouldn't it be perfect timing? SEC drops case April 21st. Front run the 25th pump. RH leads the bull run. That'd be cool, man. It'd be very cool. Guys, we got a lot going on, man. I just want to share with everyone. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Much love to y'all. Catch you on the next one. Peace.